Hello everyone, my name is Binks and welcome back to Let's Play Dear Monster, where we are continuing in Slagathor's route, which we began in the last episode. Alright, so we made our choice, we are with him, and yeah, that's about it. Alright, when I start to wake up, I'm immediately aware of the sounds of birds and gentle wind. Am I outside? You're awake. I was starting to think I'd killed you or something. Here, sit up. Let's see the damage. Slagathor's large hands rest against my back, helping me to sit up. I realize we're at his camp again. I briefly recall being in my room, being overwhelmed by magic. Was that a dream? What happened? I put you back to bed, but by the time I'd gotten back to the kitchen, I started feeling your magic again. Figured something had to be really wrong if I could feel it from that far away, so I came back up in time to see you collapse. You were pouring out magic so hard, I thought you were gonna break the whole mansion. So I just brought you here. Orc woods are full of plants that absorb magic, so those could cut off some of the excess. I tried to absorb the rest, but honestly, you hit my limit, kid. I would have been impressed if I hadn't been half sure we were both gonna die. Finally made some of the magic-eating plants into a soup and got that in you. Was enough to get you under control. Something's up with your magic. You really need to go get one of the others to help you. I'd rather just get rid of it. Isn't there something I can do until Grandpa gets back? I didn't grow up in this world. Magic and spells and mythical creatures, they have nothing to do with me. And ever since I got here, I've been feeling like this. This weird, overwhelming thing. Like it's eating me alive. Wild magic isn't really something to screw around with. It'll tear you and the rest of us apart if you just let it go crazy. Look, you're cute and you seem complicated, in a good way. Pretty fun too, but I can't just leave a firebird burning in the middle of a forest. Come with me and let's go see what Hikmat can make of this thing. We'll stop by the kitchen and fix him up a bribe so he won't get too weird about it. Bribe him. Yeah. I mean, technically, we didn't choose Slagathor as our partner, even though we did sleep with him, and it's because Slagathor is unable to be our familiar, I guess, because he can't use magic or whatever, so, we'll see. We'll see. Weird? Weird how? Not really my business to tell. Just don't get too close to any of his plants. Right. We stop by the kitchen, where Slagathor puts a few snacks into a basket. They're all light, delicate things, and Slagathor says they're Hikmat's favorites. Yes, bribe our Egyptian god. He leads me across the yard and gardens, to a little greenhouse off to the side. When I enter, I see wild-looking plants everywhere. Not a single one is recognizable to me, but they're all breathtakingly beautiful. Wow, it's so pretty in here. It is also incredibly deadly. Most of the plants are toxic or carnivorous. Do not touch anything. Suddenly, Slagathor's warning makes sense. What did you need? You rarely leave the kitchen. Hikmat ignores me, focusing on Slagathor. I'd feel a bit more put out about it if I couldn't see the way his eyes drift to the package in Slagathor's hands, then quickly snap back. A little drool sneaks down the corner of his lip. We know you want the food. We know you secretly want it, Hikmet. Give in to your hunger. Oh, he's like, no, I must keep my 8-pack. My 8-pack. My precious 8-pack. It's like, come on, Hikmet. You're immortal. You can afford to gain a couple pounds, dude. Brought you a snack. I did not request one. Oh, I see. It is an offering. Look at the face. His face changed like, I know, you want something. No. Very well. What is your request? Alan has a problem with his magic. It's going haywire. I tried taking some of the excess off, but I was hitting my limit. To my surprise, as Slagathor hands over the basket to Hikmet, he also raises his hand, revealing a gentle tremor in the large fingers. It was hurting you. Why didn't you say anything? It doesn't hurt. I just needed to stop before I got overwhelmed by it. Orcs aren't meant to take in too much magic directly. You were absorbing it directly. The magic reached an intensity that overwhelmed your runes. Runes? They both ignore me, and Slagathor's face goes completely flat. All the warmth that's usually in his eyes snuffs out like candlelight, and I can see his jaw flex where his back teeth clench. I don't have runes. You do not. I'd always assumed you simply covered them well. Was your exile prior to your coming of age, then? Exile? Oh, we getting some lore here. That's not the point. The point is I don't have them, so I can take his magic in. Which is good, because otherwise he could have exploded. I could have what? Stop interrupting. If the risk had been significant, Farron would have intervened. He has invested too much personal interest into Theodore's family to allow one to perish so close to him. This conversation keeps getting crazier and crazier, and I can't follow it. Can somebody tell me what's going on? I just got here and I've almost already died? As I said, you would not have died. In any case, it was likely your body compensating for the large loss of magic and accidentally flooding your underdeveloped system. I can run a few tests to verify. Please do. Don't I get a say in this? Listen, I'm all for making your own choices, but this is kind of important. Like I said, wild magic isn't something to mess with. Do you really want to ignore it? I guess not. I mean... I mean, all of these are accurate. Yeah, he almost died, which is horrible. But I guess if we're going for the best ending... this bottom one was what I said for the bad ending. I think for the neutral, I had to say I almost died. Which is like, we had to be a little more selfish and distant with him. So I think we had to be a little more caring here, of course, for the good ending. So I almost hurt you, which is true. I mean, we should feel bad because he did go above and beyond to try to help us, right? I almost hurt you. And then I almost died as well, which is horrible. Why would you sacrifice yourself for me? I know my limit, kid. I cut you off in plenty of time. It's fine. Worry about the damage to yourself first. I can't be worried about you too? You've been nothing but kind to me since I got here.
If 2 days of being nice to you are worth dying for me, kid, I'm really worried about your life up to now.
He's got me there, I guess.
Enough of this. If we're all agreed, allow me to take a look.
Hikmet begins to run through various odd tests, looking into my eyes, taking my pulse, and rotating my head around. All the way around like an owl. No. Eventually, he steps to the side and returns a moment later with a potion.
Drink this. It should cut off your magic flow temporarily, allowing your body to stabilize without feeling the need to flood your system with it. Slagathor, you should take one as well. I believe you are still subconsciously absorbing the overflow of Alan's magic, which could be contributing to his overproduction.
Slagathor doesn't hesitate to take the potion, drinking it right away. I tentatively accept the potion and drink it. It's strangely tasteless, just a warm feeling in my throat, followed by a strange chill spreading out from my chest. A moment later, the feeling vanishes, but I feel weirdly hollow. What was that?
The potion should have temporarily interrupted the flow of magic in your body. The magic is still there, but your body has no means of connecting to it, therefore leaving you unable to feel it.
So, like how painkillers stop your body from processing pain?
A crude comparison, but yes.
It's more like having a limb go numb. Magic is a major part of your body.
It's almost snappish the way Slagathor interrupts. He's been so warm and polite so far. It catches me off guard. Slagathor, are you okay?
It's fine. Thank you for help. Thank you for the help, Hikmat. Let me know if you want something else to eat later, alright?
What the hell was that about?
Ah, I understand.
Understand what? What's going on?
Orcs are sensitive to the flow of magic. The intake of energy is a stimulant to their system. It must be incredibly uncomfortable to have been fed a large dose and have it abruptly cut off.
Yeah, so basically, I forgot that this is like a drug addict storyline. It's interesting, because not expecting it for this kind of game, right? And not for Slagathor, who's such a sweetheart, but yeah. He's basically like a drug addict, but he can't help it, right? Because that's what the magic is to him. He needs it, he loves it, he wants it, his body craves it. And there will be more explanations very soon, I'm sure. Okay? He's going through withdrawal now. Yep, here we go. So he's feeling what? Withdrawal?
In a crude sense, yes. Not that it is any of concern of mine. You are free to leave.
I get the feeling it's not a suggestion, or like someone who smokes, right? Like a nicotine addict. Thanks. I make my way back to the kitchen to find Slagathor cutting up vegetables in an oddly aggressive way. Slagathor? He stops, sighing, and sets his knife aside to look at me.
Sorry, kid. Don't mean to be an ass. I hate the feeling of being cut off from magic.
You've had something like this happen before?
Short answer is no. Long answer. Hikmet mentioned the runes, right?
Something about how he thought you'd have them, but
I don't. All orcs get them at coming of age, but I turned mine down. Whenever young orcs go out on hunts, they get marked with temporary runes to protect against magic while they're out. I always hated the way they felt, so when it was time for permanent ones, I wouldn't take them.
Why not? He pauses a moment, seeming to consider how to reply.
Let's start with this. How do you feel right now, with no magic at all?
So, we saw what he said about how he felt, right? How he immediately felt weird, right? He felt off. For the bad ending, I had to say this. Pretty much the same as before, which was a lie. Like, why did we lie? Which I didn't like that he lied, okay? I was like, why would you say that when you pretty much had this reaction that you were, like, feeling off? This one in the middle is, like, kind of downplaying it. But here we're being very open and honest. So clearly for a good ending, we're going to be open and honest. We're feeling empty. Because he said hollow. He was feeling hollow.
Yeah, exactly. Magic is in everything, and being able to feel it, the world feels closer, more alive. Without that feeling, everything gets dull, flat. If you're not sensitive to magic, you'd never notice. But the more magic you take in, the more you start to pick up on, until losing it feels...
Like you went blind the second you entered an art gallery?
Yeah, pretty much that.
I'm not sure Slagathor is telling me everything, but I can't expect him to. He doesn't really know me. I'm just his boss's grandson who suddenly showed up and caused problems. Having sex doesn't mean we're a couple. He has no real reason to even tolerate me hanging around him all the time. That being said, I really like him, and I wish I could understand him a bit more. Maybe I could start with... So, what was that about an exile?
I wasn't technically exiled. I was given a choice to leave, and I took it. Orc tribes just don't have much precedent for people leaving willingly, so in their eyes I was still exiled, just voluntarily.
What? Why? What was the tribe like? Was it bad?
Not at all. It was home. It's just that tribes have a lot of old traditions, and I wasn't great with them. I don't like to fight, and in a warrior culture, that's pretty much the most disappointing attitude a kid could have. Especially the son of a chief.
You were the chief's son?
I still am. Have my old token and everything. Even though I made it into this.
Slagathor reaches out, picking up the helmet off the counter, showing off a strange metal bell. A piece of what looks like a rich red metal hangs in the middle, covered in etched runes.
The token is a special kind of metal. It's a cooperative trade between a few magic-resistant people that live in the areas around the Orc Woods, and tribes will trade a lot for it. It's usually used to make shields. When the metal is struck, it disrupts the magic in the area. Obviously, a little piece like this isn't gonna do that, but it creates enough of a ripple for me to notice it. Makes it easy to tell when I'm being called.
Slagathor gestures to the runes.
Not sure what they'll say. I didn't study with the druids, but the ones from my name and the name of my tribe are in there. These tokens let us find the tribe if we're separated, creating a little ripple in the magic realm that our druids can feel. My father let me take mine, even though you're meant to take an exile's token when you leave. I guess it was him saying he was sure I'd be back.
Would you go back? Ever?
No. I love the tribe and they're my family, but I can't be what they want, so this is how it has to be. Besides, I've got it good here, a great job, pretty boys to keep me company, as much food as I could ever want to cook. You can't really get much better than this. It works out.
Did you try to be what they wanted you to? Were you ever worried they were right about what you should be?
You're asking about you, right? I'm not stupid, kid. You grew up without magic even though it's in your family. It's pretty clear you were raised by someone who had some opinions about who you should grow up to be.
But do you think she was right?
About what?
Nothing. It's dumb. My relationship with my aunt is kind of tense. I've always tried really hard to make her happy. I can't imagine just walking away, doing whatever I want.
What would you do if you walked away? For me, I tried to stick with my tribe for a long time, but still do things the way I wanted. I cooked for the tribe, and for a while that was fine. They kept forcing ultimatums. Eventually, the only way was to make myself miserable or make myself scarce. So, I said, screw it. I'll figure something out. And I did. I figured out a lot of things. And now I get to do the things that they make me happy. And hopefully make other people happy too. Sex, food, the odd spar, a friendly word. I'm here to help people when they need me. That's the part I wanted to play in the tribe, and I've got it here. These guys are my tribe to me too. So, what does your aunt want you to do?
She wants me to be a doctor.
And you?
I got into med school.
No, kid. I mean, what do you want? Do you want the same thing?
I think for this ending, I'm noticing a pattern. Looks like all of our answers for the good ending seem to be on the top. I wonder if they did that on purpose. Because I think all the bad ending ones were on the bottom. I wonder if they did do that. That's what I'm noticing so far. Okay, I want to help people. I think that's what we have to say for this one. Because the bad ending was, I don't want to be a burden. So, yeah, I think so. Because making people happy is for their sake, not for his. So, I want to help people.
A little broad there, kid. There's 1,000 ways to help people. For example, you could come help me cut vegetables.
Oh, do you want help?
No, I've got this.
Right.
Seriously though, put everything else aside. Think about what you love the most, what you really value. What do you actually want?
I have no idea. My whole life has been just trying to make people happy. I guess I've never really taken the time to figure out what I would be like if I made every decision for myself. What about you? Has being a chef always been your dream?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
He says it with confidence, but the pause before it feels heavy. Did he have another dream once that he just doesn't want to tell me about? Or is he just thinking about his tribe?
You're making a face over there. I'm not a typical case, so don't worry about it too much. Orcs are, by nature, pretty straightforward.
He gestures around the kitchen.
I like the stuff I like, so I stick to that when I can. Theodore gave me a kitchen and a campsite, and that's really all I need to be happy. I think you should just try and find the stuff that makes you happy, and stick with that. Alright, I'll stop nagging. I'm gonna make lunch. Any preferences?
God, Slagathor's such a good guy. Like, they're not even, like, deeply in love or anything. And he's just genuinely just trying to help him out, you know? Like, as a buddy, as a friend. Like, yeah, we had sex, but it's not even romantic or anything. I'm just genuinely caring about you and wanting what's best for you. Like, he's such a good guy. And on all the routes, he's always just trying to help Alan, you know?
You're such a good guy, Slagathor. I love you so much. You deserve everything. You deserve the world.
No, whatever is fine.
Then come here. If you're gonna hang around, you can be an extra set of hands.
You sure? I'm not really a chef.
Neither was I when I started. Took me forever to learn how to use the different types of pans instead of just throwing stuff on a fire. But everyone starts somewhere and you clearly need a hobby. So let's give this a shot.
Okay, show me what to do. Yay, cute cooking time, just like what happened with Momo.
I'll show you everyone's favorites, except Hikmut's date bread, because he doesn't eat very often and I already have enough made. And I'm only going to do a steak for Imbris because I don't know him that well. Actually, Farron and Momo don't really eat either. But I can show you how to make udon, which I can usually get Momo to eat. Udon! Give me! Give me! I'm going crazy. And we can spin sugar for Farron. Give him cavities, yes.
Make him go to the dentist. Give him pain and suffering. Spun sugar? Like cotton candy?
No, wrong kind of spinning. This is a hard candy made with molten sugar.
Oh, that's horrible. I hate that stuff. I hate it. Ugh. I'm not a big fan of cotton candy either, actually. I hate, like, sugar like that because it has no other flavor. It's just sugar, you know? And it's just like, not only is it bad for your teeth, but it just melts in your mouth and that's all you taste. It's just sugar. And I'm like, I'm looking for more variety in a flavor, okay? I want more complex taste in my mouth now. That's the thing with my taste buds now. That's why, like, when it comes to desserts and stuff and ice cream and cakes, now my taste buds, I'm like, I don't like a lot of the stuff I used to when I was little. I'm like, that's too sweet. That's too plain and boring. Like, I need complex palettes, complex variety. I'm becoming a master chef. You have to have, a little bit of salt, a little bit of sour, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Been watching too many cooking channel stuff, I guess. I don't know. You can make it into little ships like animals. Slagathor's eyes light up when he says animals, and I get the feeling that making little animal figures out of molten sugar is something he really likes to do. I think of the little chicken in the basket. Does Slagathor have a soft spot for critters in general? Aw, that's so cute! That's super cute. A big man with a soft spot for little cute animal figures and stuff. That's adorable. He should have his own cute little animal pet like Quincy in New Carnival. He has the most adorable little baby stoat who's always following him around. It's not a baby, but his name is Topper, and he's like his little buddy, his little baby, his little son. Ah, love him so much. You could even have, like, instead of those little spikes on your shoulder, you could have like a bird or something on your shoulder. That'd be super cute. It sounds like you enjoy doing that.
Yeah, kind of. I've always liked things that are...
He pauses, clearly searching for a word. Cute?
Yeah, that about sums it up. I used to get a lot of shit for it with my tribe, but luckily I fit right in here. Farron likes shiny things, Momo likes pretty things, I like cute things. And you are a perfect mixture. We can put you in anything shiny, anything pretty, anything cute, and you would look adorable no matter what.
What does Hikmet like? And Hikmet likes plants? Yeah, I guess so. We'll put a whole bunch of plants on you.
Ha! Dangerous things, I guess, or dead ones.
Yeah, that's him as well. creepy things then. He's goth. He's a goth.
Some of the things he likes are pretty. They are just usually also man-eating or poisonous.
I stand by my statement.
Yeah, that's probably fair. Anyway, I'll show you how to spin sugar. Oh, and that Imbris likes gold.
We know that from his hoard. He has so much gold.
Anyway, I'll show you how to spin sugar. Momo can wait. He rarely agrees to eat real food anyway.
Alright, sounds fun. So, what do I do?
Well, first we need to create the sugar base.
Slagathor shows me how to make the base, which is basically just boiling sugar and corn syrup, and then pulls out what looks a bit like head scratchers, which he calls sugar whisks. He dips it into the sugar and puts a stick under it. I mean, how you make it is really cool. I wouldn't eat it, but it's still really cool. Tipping the whisk around and creating artful little twirls. After making a couple to show me the trick, he lets me try. I mostly just make a mess.
Here, let me show you.
Slagathor puts his large hands over mine and guides me, helping me spin the whisk into a little spiral. It looks like something that could top a gourmet dessert. I did it! Or, well, you did it, with my hands.
It takes some practice, but with the right tools...
Slagathor moves over in the kitchen and opens a cabinet, where he pulls out a small container. He opens the lid and I see spun sugar, but these are like lollipops with solid ends, in the shape of artful little animals. He pulls out one shaped like a chicken and hands it over.
You can make things like this. Give it a try.
It's so cute. I'm not even sure if I should eat this.
There's no point in cooking anything if it can't be eaten, so go ahead. I can always make another.
I still feel kind of guilty eating something so clearly artistic, but I take a bite. It's delicious and sweet, but it's pretty much raw sugar, so that's kind of a given.
Well, do you see what I mean by this being all I really want to do? 1 second I'm making steaks, the next I'm making these. There's plenty of room to grow and get creative.
Yeah, this is really cool. I do have a question though.
Huh?
How'd you get into cooking?
Well, that's actually a fun story. Orcs tend to be wary of magic, and a lot of plants and animals have a level of natural magic in them, especially in the orc woods where most of the wildlife eats magic. So, generally handling that kind of stuff was a druid's job.
There's that word again. Druid. What's a druid for orcs?
Right, I forgot, you're new. Druids, it's kind of a rough translation from our language, but I'm not gonna torture your ears with our word for it. In most cultures, druids are not wizards really, but people that use tools to manipulate natural magic, usually herbalists. For orcs, though, they're rune masters. They're the elders who specialize in warding off, dispelling, or reflecting magic. Don't ask me how, cause no one other than them actually knows. They don't teach anyone unless they're selected deliberately, and those selections are never explained. A kid just goes in for his runes, and suddenly a druid is popping out to announce they've been chosen for training.
They just steal the kid?
It's not like they're gone. We all live together in the camp, so close you trip over people when you're trying to get up at night to go piss. They just change your job. Instead of a hunter or a smith or whatever, you're trained in runes.
Ah, okay. That makes more sense. So they do all the stuff connected with magic.
Yup. Anything that could contain magic in any way gets handed to them first. They clean hunted meat, dry out plants, generally purge anything that might have magic in it. And while they're at it, if they have something that's intended to be eaten, they just cook it. And when I say cook, I mean they ruin it. dried and salted meat served as the main dish of pretty much every meal. Jerky was a staple for hunts. Half the tribe had a limited concept of what a vegetable was. It was awful.
But then, how did you learn to cook?
Well, I was kind of a weird kid. I used to get sick constantly when I ate. Orcs don't typically get sick, so the whole tribe would freak out every time. A couple of times my father searched every tent to see if someone was poisoning me. Don't know why he'd bother. The only people who could even have the ability to do that were druids, and their quarters were off limits to everyone, even the chief, except on approval by the head rune master.
So the chief answers to the druids?
It's hard to explain, but no. It's just that the orcs know two things from birth. You don't turn your back on an enemy, and you don't want to mess with something that belongs to a druid. A chief isn't an exception. Anyway, that's not the point.
Right, so you were having bad reactions to food.
Yeah, well, eventually my dad just sort of chucked me at the druids and said, "Hey, figure it out. Fix him." Apparently they took me into their tent for a while, and when they came out they said that I had some kind of diet issue. My body needed food that hadn't been treated. They must have given my dad a reason, but he didn't think it important to share. If you ask me, I probably just needed vitamins. But the thing was, druids were supposed to treat all food if they brought it into camp, and no one else was supposed to touch it. They didn't have any way to bring untreated food into camp without causing problems with the sheer number of magic consumption runes on the borders. So, the only choice was to drag me along and feed me outside. So, I grew up a forager with the druids. When I got a bit older, I started to notice the way they made their food, and they admitted they would eat it untreated too. Something about the way their own wording was, I don't know. Shady. They taught me how to recognize stuff based on the magic I could feel in it. How to tell by the feeling of the magic if it's something I could put in my body, or if it's something that will hurt me. And then I started to pick up a few things I could kind of judge based on the feeling of the magic. Well, it's hard to explain, but it's almost like I can taste magic at times. So I started picking up all the magic that tasted best and playing around with it. After a while, the druids had sampled enough experiments to see my dishes were much better than theirs. I became the unofficial foraging squad chef.
That's really sweet. Wait, but then how did you end up...
Once you reach a certain age in the tribe, you start shadowing elders, determining which job you're best suited to. I got shuffled around in between foraging trips. I was pretty bad at most of the jobs, honestly. I also wasn't very happy in the camp. I liked being in the woods, but the camp felt off. Like I was being smothered sometimes. So I ended up getting passed back and forth between the druid foragers and the hunting parties. Except to go on hunting parties, you had to apply temporary runes, and runes always. Well, short version is, I didn't like doing it. So when my coming of age hit and I was supposed to receive final runes, I turned them down.
But you said the druids would pick kids at the time they put runes on, right? What if they had picked you?
It's complicated. I liked spending time with them, but the druids in orc tribes are... they're practically exiles themselves. They live apart from everyone else. They eat in the woods. Everyone is half respectful and half suspicious.
Slagathor shakes his head.
I tried to tell the tribe. Tried to tell my father that they could probably all do a lot better if they didn't lock away that knowledge or get so paranoid about the tiniest bit of magic. I was healthier than ever after being half raised on absorbed magic with no runes around. Surely they'd be better off if... Well, it turns out the druids hadn't really explained everything I was doing to my father, or how in tune I was with sensing natural magic. It freaked him out. He gave me an ultimatum. A heavy head-to-toe rune set.
Slagathor's face flattens, and he gives a careless shrug.
So I left.
Slagathor.
Hey, don't look like you're gonna cry. That was years ago, and honestly, I'm happy, I'm healthy, I've got a new family and a great job. Sometimes stuff that feels like the end of the world is actually the start of it, you know? Not to mention the bonus of the occasional cutie that wanders into my kitchen.
He winks at me, making my face burn with embarrassment. You're changing the subject, and I'm ending the episode because that was a lot of exposition. Ooh, my mouth. Ooh, my throat. Didn't know when the story was going to end. Alright, well, thank you. Ooh, God, that was a lot. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. It's always good to hear more about Slagathor. Interesting past he's got. Explains a lot about, why he left the tribe and why he does not want to go back and doesn't want to have the runes on him and, all of that. Very interesting. Anyway, until next time, hope you guys have a nice day. Bye-bye.